Getting news and updates for the Batman Part 2, Matt Reeves himself really said he go FOMO for you. Because not only did he confirm, again, that his Batman universe is separate from James Gunn's DC universe, he also narrowed down who the main villain is gonna be in the Batman Part 2. And it might not be who you think. Plus, he gave a whole bunch of hints and teases of what the story is gonna be about, and what the dilemma is gonna be for not just Batman, but Bruce Wayne as well. He also had some very interesting comments about a potential Batman Part 3, and so much more. And y'all know me, if I get a little bit of crumbs, I'm gonna make a 10-star meal. But either way, me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. But for real, right out of the gates, Matt Reeves confirmed the Batman Part 2 is a DC Elseworlds project and not in the DCU for the 10th time. So boo-hoo, merger bros. Y'all need to rebrand to the multiversal cameo bros. Because it's looking like the multiverse is the only way we're going to be getting a Robert Pattinson Batman and David Cornsweet Superman, world's finest. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to Matt himself roll the tape.
And we're working with them on this. I mean, it's a DC, so like, it's Elseworld, but it's DC, so it's theirs as well. So,
and I feel like we've spoken ad nauseum about this, and my position has always been, yes, on the surface level, it could work. But do I want to sacrifice Matt Reeves' creative vision to shoehorn this Batman in for dollars? Fuck no. But I'm not going to sit here and act like it wouldn't be a dope team up to try to see them do it. But hopefully this puts the final nail in the coffin of this fucking merger. I'm tired of it, Grandpa. But this doesn't rule out Matt Reeves directing a project in James Gunn's DC universe. Reeves himself said that it would be a whole lot of fun directing a movie in the DC universe, although they haven't talked about it yet. And I don't know if y'all remember, but when answering a question about what directors he would love to see in the DC universe, he mentioned Matt Reeves. But now that leaves the fun speculation to all of us, like, what project would you want to see Matt Reeves do in the DC universe? The first two ones I can think of off the top of my head, I would really love to see an iteration of The Question from Matt Reeves. It is kind of derivative to what he's already done with the Batman, and it is kind of putting him in a box of like, this is all you can really do, Matt Reeves. But legitimately, I don't think we've tapped into the potential of what The Question could do on the big screen. And they don't call it Detective Comics for no fucking reason. But I think my number one answer would be him doing a Constantine movie. I would just love to see him work with more fantastical elements going back to his Cloverfield roots, while still being semi-grounded. Tapping into these mystical elements would be fire. Or I guess magical. But now that brings us to the very interesting bit of news that Matt Reeves revealed about the main villain for the Batman Part 2. The first thing he had to say about the main villain actually narrows down the choices for who could appear in this film, stating that it's never really been done in a movie before. So we can cross all of these options off the damn list. No Two-Face, no Mr. Freeze, no Bane, no Scarecrow, no Ra's al Ghul. But I don't think that necessarily means that none of these characters could appear. Like, I could definitely see them having a Harvey Dent while not being the main villain, since we know we need a new DA. But adding to that, Matt Reeves had this to say: I had a lot of ideas, and then Matt and Tomlin, we began the process of this by doing another deep dive into the comics, exploring the ideas that I had. He gave me some ideas that he had, and we sat together and watched a lot of the movies, honestly, and not all the movies are from, the realm of Gotham. But taking it a step further, Matt Reeves confirmed that the villain in the Batman Part 2 will be connected to Bruce Wayne's history and life. Picking the right villain that digs into what that does, that sort of goes into his past and his life, that was what drove that discussion. I won't tell you where we ended up, but we're super excited about it, and I will say, it's never really been done in a movie before. So if we treat this like a math equation, the fact that 1, it's never really been done in a movie before, and 2, the villain will be connected to Bruce Wayne's history and life, that really only leaves us with a couple of options. And I'm going to be going from most likely to least likely. And a lot of what he said sounds like Hush. It just makes a whole lot of sense, especially since Hush was already teased in the Batman. He mentioned a hush money deal that Bruce Wayne's father agreed to in the murder of a reporter with the last name Elliot. So they can easily make that a connection to Thomas Elliot, who is Hush. Now, I know the main reason that most people don't want to see Hush is because he's going to feel really familiar to Riddler from the first movie, and in general, he is a little bit overrated, if I could be honest with you. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is an adaptation. He's not going to do a one-to-one, if he really is even doing Hush in the first place. But I could trust Matt Reeves and Matt Tomlin to adapt Hush in an incredibly new and refreshing way that also challenges both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Because the Batman Part 2 really should just be dissecting who Bruce Wayne really is underneath that mask. Because another character that came to my mind was the Phantasm, which, as we know, did technically release in a film that released in theaters. So maybe that's what he means by hasn't really showed up in a movie. Maybe they just straight up do Phantasm, and we just get like a pseudo Mask of the Phantasm adaptation for the Batman Part 2, which I think will be fucking fire. Or they could probably take elements of Mask of the Phantasm for Hush. Another likely option is the Court of Owls. Again, depending on how they adapt it, it won't feel too similar to what they did with the Batman, and who's really running Gotham, as we all thought it was Carmine Falcone. Matt Reeves has hinted that this goes even deeper, so look no further than the Court of Owls, who, mind you, have been teased multiple times, and most recently in The Penguin. The courthouse that Oz pulls up to has these very interesting silhouettes that look like what? Owls. And also the fact that we know in the Batman universe, the Waynes and the Arkhams are who technically built Gotham. You just know the Court of Owls has something to say in between those two families. So that could be your personal connection right there. I mean, dog, could you imagine what Matt Reeves does with Talon, the lead assassin of the Court of Owls? Those fight scenes would go stupid. But another option that I could see them adapting is actually Hugo Strange. Considering the fact that he's so heavily tied to Arkham Asylum, perhaps he has something to do with the fact that Martha Wayne, Bruce Wayne's mom, was in and out of Arkham. And maybe he was the one who drove her crazy in the first place. But if you really want to explore the different masks of both Bruce Wayne and Batman, struggling with his trauma and his own mental health, look no further than Hugo Strange as a perfect antagonist to all of that. Honestly, wouldn't even be surprised if we see multiple main villains, not just one. But regardless of who the main villain is, I just know Matt Reeves and Matt Tomlin cooked. Because Matt Reeves also spoke about how the Batman Part 2 is going to put a bigger focus on Bruce Wayne, which was actually one of the biggest criticisms for a Batman movie, which is weird. More so than the Batman. I knew the way the Batman ended, it was leaving us on the precipice, and also the way events sort of happened within the Penguin, that there is an exploration to be had. And one of the explorations for me was to do something that pushes even further into the character of Bruce Wayne, because the first story is so much about the Batman. I also wanted in the movies to be focused on his character. A lot of the other films, which I love, once you get past the origin tale, which we didn't quite do in the Batman, but we did something that referred to his origins, and then you start telling the Rogue Gallery story and that character's sort of arc. I never wanted to lose the Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Pattinson at the center of these stories, and so that is really what we set our aim on. Stop right there. I've heard enough. Welcome back, Mask of the Phantasm in live action in 2027. Nah, for real, it feels like they're going to be doing a deep dive into the characterization of Bruce Wayne and Batman, which I thoroughly enjoy, and I think it's very much needed because he is such a recluse as Bruce Wayne in this universe. I mean, how dope would it be if we see another persona matches Malone? You have a generational talent in Robert Pattinson, you might as well let him cook in every single aspect. But I love the fact that they're putting the focus on him because he's him. But you can't have a Batman without a Robin, right? Because Matt Reeves also talked about if they've ever had discussions of including Robin in the Batman Part 2. Well, sure, you talk about everything. There's probably not any character that we didn't talk about. What could this be? What could that be? That's part of the beginning of anything. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. That
I hope
kinda
not.
seems like a nothing ass answer. But coupling into the facts that we got a couple of rumors and speculation a couple months ago from industry insiders saying that Robin could potentially be in the Batman Part 2, it seems like the discussions have been more serious than just floated out. This would also feel like it kind of contradicts Brave and the Bold, even though it probably would be two different Robins, because that one supposedly is supposed to be about Damian Wayne, and this one would probably most likely be Dick Grayson. I'm not gonna hold you. We need more Dick. Crazy pause. We need more Dick Grayson in in live action, bro. Finally, on answering a question on if we will get the Batman Part 3, Matt Reeves says he has no idea if they'll make a Batman Part 3. Huh? What'd you say? What do you mean? No Batman Part 3. We need a trilogy for real. Now, I definitely feel like this is him just playing coy to the question and not wanting to open up that answer, but Matt.
Bro, let's be real. I hope they don't do a Batman Part 3. I generally don't. I hope they don't, because I want Brave and the Bold to carry the mantle into an actual Batman movie and the whole idea of Batman. I don't want the Batman Part 3. It just fucks it up. It completely fucks it. I don't care if it's good and that's good. I don't care. It's going to fuck it up.
I have receipts. I have CBS receipts. Because do y'all remember when Colin Farrell said that he signed to play the Penguin in all three Matt Reeves, the Batman films? What do you mean? There was already planned 3 Batman films? Now, obviously, everybody Hakuni Atata, because you're going to say, things changed when James Gunn became the head of DC Studios. This was literally said in November of 2024, which was 7 months ago, during James Gunn's tenure. So yeah, I get it that things changed, but I still feel like Matt Reeves, Matt Tomlin always had a 3-picture idea for this Batman saga. So you can bet your ass we're gonna get a Batman Part 3, and I need it more than I need air. But that's all the new news and updates that Matt Reeves gave us about the Batman Part 2, my thoughts, theories, and predictions. Let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below, and as always, don't forget, I'm vengeance. Like and follow for more.
That's what's